New York City, truly an exciting place to live and home to some of the most desirable real estate in the country. I'm heading to one of Manhattan's most exclusive addresses, the home of famous mystery writer, Richard Castle. Well, okay, it's not exactly in New York, it's here, at Raleigh Studios in Hollywood. But Castle's loft didn't exactly just design itself. It began here, behind the door of a production office, and that's where we begin too. Let's see if anyone's home.
Hi, Vern.
Alfred, how are you?
Good. Welcome to my world.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
First off, I have to say, I am so excited because not only am I a fan of the show, but I'm really a huge fan of the sets. And I would love for you to tell me, what was your inspiration? Like, how did that whole process get started?
Well, first of all, thank you. Coming from you, I really appreciate that. How we get started is, it's basically we get the script first. So once we get the script, we determine what we're going to build and what we're not going to build, and then I start breaking it down.
When you have an overall idea of what you want to do, how does it then actually get manifested?
What I do is I start designing and I start on tracing paper. Based upon the script, I start sketching out ideas of, the actor, where they would be moving in the building. Then I make a quick model, 3D model. And that's sort of a guide for me in terms of the space and proportions. When I started out, everything was drawn by pen, and all the drafting was done by that. Now, with all these new computers and all these different programs, we make the model, put all the detail in the model, we push a button, and then the computer spits out working drawings. And then I pick all the materials, and my construction coordinator, he'll order all the materials and find the materials. And for example, I've been using this new stuff out that's really been helpful.
Oh, that's
this is paper,
fun.
right? They make paper brick, and this is all recycled materials. It's your sources, You find some glass, you find a piece of material that turns you on, and all of a sudden you start using that and you get your inspiration from the materials.
I wish I could have this happen in the real world. That's pretty great. One of the advantages of building a set, I guess, when you're putting your sets together and you're looking at overall ideas like a budget, a lot of the things that you bring in may not be things that you permanently own. They're things that you perhaps rent, is that right?
Yes. We rent all our appliances, and it's a question of robbing Peter to pay Paul. If I want to build a fancy bookcase, okay, then I'll take the money. I'll rent that sofa instead of buying that sofa, and so I can build a bookcase.
So where's all this stuff made?
We have a metal shop, we have an electrical shop, and we have carpenters, and we have skilled painters. It's like a one-stop shop. It's my mill. You want to go see it?
I would love to go see it.
Okay, great.
Wow, you guys have a lot of materials.
Yeah, this is all our stuff, that new stuff, old stuff. We're in our 5th season, so we've really acquired a lot. Damien figures out exactly how it should be built.
So working in the real world has got to be a lot easier than working on these sets.
Well, you know what? Most of my life I've worked on sets, so it's what I'm used to. But yeah, it's a lot easier to work in the real world. You don't have the time constraints.
Yeah, because in the real world, nobody says to you from scratch, build a bedroom, right?
Yeah, not in 4 days anyways. But you know what? We accomplished a lot here and it feels good. We've got great people and there's a huge amount of satisfaction you get when you just look at what you did and, and say, wow, that looks nice.
The other thing too is they'll be shooting and we'll get a phone call, we need a sign. So I'll come running down to the mill and these guys they'll make me a sign.
It happens on a regular basis, but it's something that we're used to.
So that's not a weird or odd request for someone to say, I need something done in an hour.
Absolutely not. We can get it done in an hour. If something's really coming down quick, we'll send a couple of phone calls out and let them know, hey, it's got to be painted right away and you better get your colors ready. And we might even bring it back to be filmed with a little bit of wet paint, but you can't tell that on camera.
So I see how you come up with the ideas. I see how it gets made. Now I would actually really love to see the sets. Can we start with Beckett's loft?
Sure, let's go.
Great. Before moving on, let's really head to New York and meet our expert in Tribeca.
Thanks, Vern. I brought some additional experts with me because with us, everything is a family affair. So I'm here with my sister, Samantha, and my mother, Michelle, in freezing cold and rainy New York.
We are standing in a wonderful corner in Tribeca on Franklin Street, which is really prime Tribeca. And of course, it's where Kate Beckett lives.
I would say we're in the heart of Tribeca. It's certainly one of the most desirable streets here. And real estate in Tribeca is very interesting. It's certainly among the highest price per square foot in all of Manhattan. And you have a mixture of a lot of very different types of people. You have a lot of families. You also have some fabulous celebrities, spectacular restaurants. I mean, the area has been hot for a very long time, and it is still very hot.
And the truth of the matter is, Tribeca is the perfect place for Kate. You can be as anonymous as you want.
There's a lot of privacy here, and so if Kate is hiding out from any of the people that she's hunting, this might be a great spot for her to be.
So isn't it great to be walking in New York City on a rooftop?
This is her front door. This is so cool. Beckett's front door. Let me tell you, you have really outdone yourself. Where did you get the inspiration to design this place?
The truth is, it's this painting. I found this painting from an artist here in Los Angeles. And when I saw this, I thought, you know, this is exactly where her head is at. Her place is bombed, and this is her mood. And the colors, I thought the colors in here were just beautiful. From this painting, it was like the spin-off of everything, and kind of my guide.
Alfred always has in his mind this backstory for the Beckett character, that she's this person who loves to kind of go to those New York bazaars. She takes time in gathering things and really enjoys interesting art and interesting elements from other cultures. And for this loft in specific, he shopped it personally. I think he did such a great job.
I love this piece, by the way. I think this is so smart. Did you see this somewhere, or did it just pop into your head that you needed to do it?
I've done so many kitchen counters in my day. So I was looking for something different, and then I found this table, and I thought, you know what, why don't we turn this into a counter? And then I had this guy from the sheet metal shop played it for us. In the real world, this would work.
Now, this is real metal, but I'm noticing that this, not so much.
No,
this egg crates, right?
This is egg crate, this is plastica. This is very fancy plastic from Home Depot.
Well, I think this is something that people can do at home. I mean, this idea that maybe you live in an apartment and you don't have any interesting visual texture. I mean, you could put this up on the wall, paint it, and then take it down when you leave.
It's simple, and it's very, very easy.
I always love stairs. I think stairs are interesting in spaces because they help you visually move. Like even when, you know, there's no movement going around you, the fact that there are stairs suggests movement. Do these actually go anywhere?
Now they don't go anywhere at all, but in the future we were hoping to build her a rooftop garden. And I thought this would be a great spot for it.
I think it's great. And I mean, it's that figurative representation of the future too, the stairs that actually lead somewhere someday. You've done something here that I think is really, really nice. Throughout this entire place, there are books. It's like stacks of books everywhere. And that's something that I do when I'm designing a place for somebody, because I always think books add life. I mean, is that something that you did because it's part of the character?
You know, I discussed what she wanted in the room, and she loves books. First thing she said is, lots of books.
When you go to Beckett's apartment, you'll see, you know, spiritual books. You see the kind of reading that she does. And Stana sat down with Alfred, and they had a really great discussion of what it should be like. And she wanted to have, you know, a little bit of that industrial, cool downtown feel. And to have it be warmth with functional elements, kind of reflective of the Beckett character. And I think it's such a great combination of what her character actually has become.
Now, I'm noticing here, there is a picture of Detective Beckett's mother. And then as we move into the office, I'm noticing this is where she's investigating who actually killed her mother.
When we introduced the fact that Beckett was researching her mother's case, it wasn't something that you could immediately tell was there. And at the time, it might have been something that she didn't want to immediately share. So that gave her a place to kind of put it away. And then when she finally did open it up, it was a nice reveal. It was something that was simple and it made sense within this space.
I've noticed that from the beginning moment of the show all the way through, and it's part of the reason why I love it so. Everything is really cinematic. It's always beautifully lit. And when I look at this space, I think, how in the world do you light this from above? Because there's a ceiling, and a very low ceiling. So how do you get lighting in here?
All the ceilings come off. They're all cabled, and
No
they
kidding.
go up. I put ceilings on all the sets in the show. And I was determined to do that from the very beginning because it really gives you a sense of structure and presence.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That is a huge difference between this set and other sets that I've been on, is that when you walk on these sets, they feel like fully flushed out, conceived spaces.
Oh, good.
Now, this is a room that I love, but we hardly ever see.
They never use
right?
it.
This
Yeah.
is Beckett's dining room.
I know, because she doesn't entertain. I think she's had Castle over once, and we used this table once.
I absolutely adore this space. I have this table myself. I have this pennant fixture myself. I love these chairs. This space really speaks to me. Where's the bedroom though?
Well, if she had a bedroom, it's supposed to be over here. And her bedroom right now is a swing set. So we take it down and we store it. And when they write to the bedroom, we bring it back, and it's because
So the bedroom is not like a permanent part of what we're seeing.
No.
It's actually out here and it gets moved around.
Right.
Can we go see it?
Sure.
So Beckett's bedroom would normally be here, but this is what you're referring to as the swing set.
Yes. A swing set is a set that we design and use for just one episode. And then after the episode, it totally goes away, and we never see it again.
So we can go inside?
Sure.
Whoa!
So this episode, they're going to shoot tomorrow. So they're getting ready and dressing it. The crew comes in and they dress it and they get it all ready. They'll dress a complicated set like this within 4 or 5 hours.
Very, very special. Well, we've seen a lot of stuff, but I am dying to see Castle's loft. Can we go see it now?
Yeah, let's go see the loft. Okay, great.
Let's head back to New York, this time from Soho.
So why would Richard Castle want to live in Soho of all places? First of all, Soho has always been the center of creativity for New York City. Artists, writers, anybody who's really creative wanted to live in Soho. Of course, that was before Soho became an area of expensive lofts, of beautiful apartments. It was when really only artists lived here.
And of course, we know that before Richard was with Kate, he was a bachelor and a playboy, and there are some of the best restaurants in all of New York City right in walking distance from where he lives. Right, the area's got this sort of very magical kind of sense. You've got all these cobblestone streets, you've got these amazing huge lofts with 12-foot windows and really high ceilings. They're beautiful cast iron facades. They have beautiful, wonderful pre-war details.
It's also one of the few areas down here that has not really been built up with tons of new construction.
Actually, some of the buildings really like to hold their integrity here, and they only allow people to live in them that are either artists or residences. So if you have a client that's, let's say, a hedge fund person or an attorney, a lot of times we have to say, unfortunately,
So
Soho's
no.
not going to be for you.
And of course, you know where it's within walking distance of, right?
Exactly.
Oh,
The best part of all about it is that it's in 5 to 10 minutes walking distance from where Kate lives, so they can have those very easy midnight rendezvous. And when you live in Soho, you generally want to try to walk places because there is a lot of traffic, and it'd be sure quicker on foot than it would be in a taxi.
Hi, welcome to Castle's Loft.
Okay, now you are officially speaking my language. This space is so beautiful and so dramatic, and I have to say, even better looking in person.
What I learned about Richard Castle when I walked into this apartment is that he is incredibly wealthy. We see eclectic, unusual things like a collection of old spectacles. He's got swords. There's a couple of very old typewriters in the back that kind of tell you who Richard Castle is. Just odds and ends, like these little, I don't know what these are. They're not blocks. Well, I almost dropped them. But things that kind of say writer on them.
I love all the accents. I mean, these are things that I would actually have in my own home. What is that?
We find this all over the place. These are the actors' sides. So they get this small version of the script for their lines. So
And
they
tuck it away somewhere.
So when they can pick it up and look at their lines and remember it.
That's funny.
It's amazing what you'll find on these sets.
That's a whole nother show, by the way. That, to me, is one of my favorite things about this entire loft. I love how you've done these bookcases and how they give you separation, but they're still, allowing transparency so that you can really kind of see all the way through. That's something I think people could really even do at home. Like, a wall doesn't have to be completely solid.
I don't put any backs on my bookcases, even if I put them against the wall, because it's nice to see the frame of the bookcases against a brick wall or wallpaper.
I've never seen that anywhere else. That's one of my favorite things that you've done in this space. Now, this area to me, I think, is really, really interesting because it looks like you've got the entire New York City skyline back there.
What we did to make this backing is combine 4 or 5 different buildings. There it goes. And we use
That's
this.
hysterical.
We use this because this wall pulls out. This entire wall will pull out when they're shooting.
Yeah, well, that's definitely something that I don't do on my shows. Now, this is a space that we see all the time, the kitchen, which is the heart of most people's homes, but it really is kind of like the heart of this home.
It certainly is.
Yeah, for sure. This is where we always see Alexis and we see Martha.
I love the design of this kitchen. I like how he has the dishes on display, the spice rack, just the little bottles on top. It's very lived in, but at the same time, polished.
Believe it or not, one of my favorite things is this faucet.
It's beautiful.
I love this faucet. This is the first thing I picked out. I started with that.
The sink actually works, but there's no drains. There has to be a bucket underneath. We've all lived like that.
There's some things in it that are missing for my taste. I'm not even sure that we have a dishwasher in there.
The fridge, we plug it in and it actually works. It's not always plugged in because it makes noise. So when you open it up, there's a very musty, smells like dust.
I've seen this fireplace on before in episodes. Is that all just digitally put in?
It's not. We have a great special effects man, Perry, who comes and turns our fireplace on whenever we need it. There he goes, Perry. Go for it.
How cool. Everybody needs a Perry.
Right, right.
Thank you, Perry.
Technically, we can't leave this on for more than a half an hour at a time because there's fire issues and because you're on a stage and nothing is really totally functional, totally working.
So that's a full-time job, just even maintaining the fire.
This, the stove, and anything else, and the water coming out of the faucet.
I have to tell you, this is one of my favorite staircases, whether it's on a television set or on a real project. I just love this. I think it's so beautiful and elegant. So this is where we go for Alexis's bedroom and Martha's bedroom.
And Martha's bedroom. Why don't you go up and check it out?
Is there anything actually up here?
Go see.
There's nothing up here. It's a dead end.
Another staircase to nowhere.
That's so funny. But I have to say, right now, I'm having a total Martha moment.
I would love to know what Alfred would come up with for Martha's room. I guess I see a sort of feminine room without it being too over the top, but lots of mirrors and lots of memories of her career and things of that nature.
So, Vern, this is Castle's workspace.
I love this office. I wish this were mine. One of the pieces that I love most is this photograph that is behind his desk. Tell me about how you came to the point of putting this in the office, because it's such a focal point.
Well, this is the first piece of art I bought, and believe it or not, this was the inspiration for the whole look of the apartment. The wood tones, the color, the wrought iron, the metal. When I saw that, I immediately said, this has got to go in his office.
When you're looking at Castle in his writing chair, you're actually looking at depth, and it creates this illusion of looking past the wall. It's really great.
It really points out something that everybody can use at home, which is that if you have a small space or maybe doesn't have a lot of depth, putting in a photograph or a picture that really plays with proportion and scale like that can make the space actually seem larger. What's happening?
I didn't pay for the picture. All the sets, all the walls moved. It's another angle for them to shoot at. Especially, they love to shoot straight down over Castle's shoulder. You get to see the depth of the set.
The bedroom. We are definitely seeing this room a lot more this season.
Yes, yes. This is Castle's bedroom.
I absolutely love this room. I think the art is so fantastic throughout the entire loft, but these pieces, these large animal pieces, I think are so arresting. And I think what people can take away at home is that, you know, if you have a smaller space, instead of having a lot of little pieces, sometimes having fewer pieces but having bigger pieces can make that space not only more dramatic, but seem larger.
Yes, right.
Now, I'm curious, what is your favorite piece in the entire loft?
Okay, I'm going to show you my favorite piece because I've never told anyone what my favorite piece was.
I can't wait to see what you're going to show me because there are so many beautiful things. I can't see how you pick one.
Well, I've never said anything to anyone before because I walk around the set and over the years I realized this is my favorite piece. I really love this photograph. There's so much depth and the colors are just beautiful.
I can totally see why. There's a story there. It's incredible. And again, I love all these large format photography pieces. They just really add a sense of luxury to the whole space. Phenomenal. I can see why you picked that. Again, I so appreciate it. Thank you. Want a hug?
Yeah, I do want a hug. Okay. Enjoy the house.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye. So there you have it, 2 stylish Hollywood sets. But what would homes like these really cost?
I don't know how much it would sell for.
Clearly there's an upstairs, a couple bedrooms, right?
I would say 15 million.
Oh, millions, for sure.
Well, you know, it's all location, location, location.
Probably what, 3.5, 4 million?
Maybe 25 mil.
My apartment in New York City was smaller than these two rooms put together, and I was paying a little over $2,000 a month for rent. So this place is at least $6 million to buy.
A detective who comes from a family that were a bunch of academics would be able to afford a loft like this. So whatever those people make.
Gosh, and I've never lived in New York. I'm totally just acting like I know what I'm talking about.
Beckett's apartment would be
Maybe $1 million, maybe a little bit more than that.
$1,395,000.
$4.2 million.
$200,000.
All right, those were some interesting guesses, but let's head to New York for a reality check.
Nathan, you are so far off. If I could buy a 3-bedroom, 3-bath apartment in Soho, 5,000 square feet, for about $6 million.
With all that outdoor space.
Exactly, the outdoor
4,500
space.
square foot of outdoor space.
I would not only buy one for myself, I would buy one for each of my daughters to save for when they decide they want to live downtown.
We're in.
So, if we're all together. Exactly. I think it's closer to 12 million these days. So I don't know when the last time you were in New York, but you should come on to the East Coast.
And Stana, the $200,000 that you guessed would get you possibly a storage bin or two for your coats. If you're lucky. Exactly, if you're lucky. A 2-bedroom with a home office, 1,800 square feet, fabulous details like the ones you have, open kitchen, exposed bricks, big windows.
Heart of Tribeca.
In the heart of Tribeca will cost you closer to $4 million. And if there's outdoor space, I would say closer to 4.5, 5
Maybe
million.
5.
Exactly.
So what do you think? You ready to move to New York? Well, it looks like the cruise wrapped for the day, and it's time for us to go. I have absolutely loved my time here on the castle set. I am such a huge fan. And I hope that you've been able to pick up a few design tips to make your home your castle. I'm gonna take this with me.